Hello, good people, and welcome to my channel where I talk about all things personal branding, messaging, and becoming the brand that people say yes to before they even hear what you're offering. So, if that sounds good to you, then stick around and keep watching. And if you get into this and you're like, you know what, I'm liking what you're putting down, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and so you can catch any of my new content that I put out. So if you're new here, I'm Nikki Bradley, and I help entrepreneurs and experts tell their story out loud so that they can build a personal brand, monetize their expertise, and get seen by more of the people they were put on this planet to serve. So today we are going to be talking about personal branding and what it is not. So spoiler alert, personal branding is not personal. And the reason that this came up is I was having some conversations. I was having some coaching calls and strategy calls with some executives recently. And this idea of how they feel about diving into building a personal brand was raising some feelings. And so these are common feelings that I hear all the time. And so I wanted to just kind of address it today. Um, so the first thing is that I hear often that personal branding can feel invasive. It can feel like I'm exposing myself to scrutiny and to people looking at what I ate for breakfast or how I'm spending time with my family. And that feels uncomfortable, which is another word that comes up. And I'm curious to hear from you guys. Um, what is what are some words that come up for you when you hear personal branding or when you think about building your own personal brand? Like what feelings come up for you? Hopefully it's excitement, but for some of us, I know that it can be scary. It can feel um, pretentious or fake because we see so many people in this age of everybody having a podcast and everybody being on social media and people stunting and flossing on people still say flossing, I don't know. Stunting on that even feels weird saying stunting, just stunting. Y'all know what I'm saying. Stunting online and, um, posting pictures of them in front of the new Tesla, whatever that spaceship contraption is. If you have one, no shade, but I can't see myself driving one. Um, but taking pictures in front of things like that and posting it and just showing like the highlight reel of their life. And for some people that feels braggy and boastful. And we've been taught that that's not cool. Like that's not couth. That's not how we're supposed to move in the world. We should be humble. We should not draw too much attention to ourselves, especially women. And there's some men who face this too, but I think more so with women, I see this where we've been taught to be the good little girl. We've been taught to not make too much noise and not to brag, right? So when you hear personal branding, these are some of the things that I see come up for people. And what I want to share today is how personal branding is not about you, boo. So if you want to hear how to not make it about you, and build a personal brand that doesn't feel like any of the words that we just talked about, then go ahead and keep watching and hit that like button. And at the end, I'm actually going to share some practical things that you can do to get over making it about you. Okay, so I think the first thing that we have to address are some of what I think are really the two biggest factors that affect how people show up with building their personal brand or deciding not to. And if you aren't actively building it, you have made a decision, you've decided that it's not something that you're going to focus on. So the biggest thing that I hear often is fear of judgment. Like, and people talk about it in different ways, but essentially that's really what it boils down to. They're afraid of what people will say or think about them if they start talking about themselves or talking about their business or talking about their career and their successes publicly. Um, oh my gosh, God forbid you talk about how amazing you are to other people. So we worry about things like what will our friends and family say about us? Are they going to say, oh, here she comes again, trying to be a shiner, trying to be, she's doing too much? Or from our colleagues, or even the people that we work for, being worried about, are they going to think that because I'm out here on social media or I'm being more vocal publicly that I'm looking for my next job somewhere else, that I'm trying to leave? And you may be. Number one, that's not any of their business, but also you could be doing that to. One of the things that I tell people all the time is, if you are working for an organization, you being more visible online, especially drawing attention to things that are happening at the organization you're working for through the work that you're doing and that your people are doing, is only good for the company as well, because there are studies that show that people are much more apt to believe and trust content that is coming from individuals who work inside of the company than the actual company itself, because we relate more to humans than we do to a big name company. So it's a win-win for everybody, right? um so the other thing is, like, when we worry about our, like, what our friends and family are going to say, yes, we love them, but ultimately you have to decide, what is your goal? Like, are you looking for that next promotion? Are you looking to grow your business and bring in more income for your family? Are you looking to have a greater influence because you know that you have a purpose to help more people? Are you trying to have a bigger impact? And if those things are true for you, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says. I know that's easier said than done, and it takes practice, but the more you show up publicly and more visibly, the easier it gets. Um, and the other biggest factor that I see that prevents people from actually building their personal brand is imposter syndrome. So I was mentioning before that I've been doing some strategy sessions with executives, and I had a call this week with someone who was sharing with me that she knows that her biggest thing is imposter syndrome. And when you look at her resume, it's impeccable. Like, she's done more than the average bear in their entire life. And she's relatively young. But even despite all of those things, which is exactly what imposter syndrome is, it's despite all the evidence that shows that you are phenomenal, you still don't believe it, or you feel like you're not good enough for whatever the thing is. And so that was how she was feeling. She was basically having, it's the question of, like, well, who am I to do XYZ? Who do I think I am? And from the outside looking in, people would look at her and be like, you are doing the dang thing. Like, you should be talking about what you're doing. Like, more people need to know about this. But to us, when we're feeling it, we're like, oh, well, I haven't done anything that great. And especially there's the is it recency bias or something like that, where we look at what is the most recent for us, and we consider that to be the gospel truth. So if you feel like, oh, the big win that you consider as like the pinnacle of what you've done might have happened 5 years ago, or it might have happened a month ago, and you're like, well, I haven't done anything in the last few weeks. What? Like that, just hearing that, even saying it, sounds crazy, right? But that's how we think. So because of that, we feel like, well, I don't have anything good enough to be talking about. I'm not all that special. Doesn't everybody know this stuff? Doesn't everybody do this stuff? And the honest truth is, they don't. Because most of you, if you're watching this, if you've gotten this far, you are a high achiever. You are somebody who's used to having a lot of success, and you know that you've done and a lot of stuff that could be helpful to other people, but we're afraid of what people will say about us and think about us if we talk about it. So even when we're born, we were born to make it about me. Like, our first words for most babies, it was mine too, is the word mine. Like, we make everything about us, right? What do we need? What do we want? What are we doing right now? When are we going to eat again? When are you going to hold me? Like, it's all about me. And it's, even when we have an achievement as young children, we're like, look, mommy, daddy, look what I did, I can do a little dance, and we get excited about that because our parents praise us and we're like, ooh. But then over time we get conditioned that that's wrong, that we shouldn't talk about, we shouldn't get excited about the things that we've accomplished. And we're taught to kind of keep that quiet. And there was a study that was done by Korn Ferry this year. They did a report and they said that 71% of US CEOs experience imposter syndrome. So think about that. People who are at the top of their careers, who are running major corporations, they still face this. So why would you think that as you're working your way up to that, that you're not going to experience it too? Likely they've experienced it their whole career, right? So it doesn't just go away. Um, I have a business coach who talks about new level, same devil. So the same things that you were challenged with earlier in your career are going to come up just at a different level the higher up you go. And this is one of those things. So you have to learn how to, when it happens, how do I address this? Because if my goal is to be more visible, to have a greater impact, to increase my income, then I have to start showing up more publicly and build a personal brand. So what I would suggest and what I have found is that instead of focusing on the me of it all, focus on the them of it all. It's not about us, it's about the people on the other side of our message that need to hear what we have to share, that need to see us doing the things that they aspire to do and seeing what's possible. And if you hold that to yourself, they are missing out on an opportunity to see someone who maybe looks like them, who has similar experiences, who they look up to, because there's always people looking up to you that you don't even realize are looking up to you. So give them some things that they can learn along the way, just like somebody probably taught you along the way as well. The other thing is when we are, for those of you who are leaders, and you are a leader, not just if you're managing people, but also if you are a business owner, you lead your clients, you lead your team. Um, the higher up you become in the ladder of leadership, the more you are expected to not just be a subject matter expert, but you are expected to focus on the success of the people that you are leading. That's more important than how much expertise or knowledge you have. Now, don't get me wrong, expertise is a part of personal branding. Like you need to show that you are knowledgeable about the field that you're in, but it becomes more important about what other people, how their lives are changing, how they are becoming more successful as a result of their work with you. So I always tell people focus on the work that you're doing for other people, like how you're helping other people. That's what you talk about more in your personal branding than what than talking about yourself specifically. And in fact, you actually are talking about yourself, but you're doing it indirectly and you're putting the focus more on other people than on you. That I have found has been a way to help alleviate a lot of those fears that people have, because it's not worrying about judging people, judging what you're saying or what you're doing, because it's not about you. It's about the people that you support. So I was talking to a friend of mine who is vying for a job promotion right now. And she was saying that she had to present to the board to basically make her case for why she should get this promotion to lead an organization. And what she realized, she was worried because she was saying that, she didn't get into a lot of the tactical things, which she's used to doing. And she focused more on the high level stuff. And so she was like, I don't know if I got specific enough in talking to them. And what I shared with her is the same thing I'm talking about right now, that the higher up you get in an organization, the larger you grow your business, you are not expected to be in the tactical and the weeds. That's what your team is for. You are not expected to be the SME on everything. You are expected to lead and guide the people around you. And so the same thing is true with getting clients. They want to know that you are knowledgeable, that you have expertise in the field of your business. But more importantly, they care about what results have you gotten for other people like me, right? I have found that most of my clients have come from me talking about doing client case studies or sharing wins of my clients versus when I talk about stuff that I'm doing. They don't care about that. They care about, okay, what happened with this person who was facing similar challenges that I was facing, and how did they get through it, and how did you help them to do that? Because maybe you can do the same thing for me. So a couple of things that you can do to be able to focus on others versus yourself, the them versus the me in your personal branding. Number one, like I was just saying, highlight your clients' success stories. Um, that's how a lot of my clients have come to me. Number two, share valuable insights and share your knowledge, but only share it if it's going to benefit your audience. So it's not just doing a post or doing a video just to talk about like how smart you are. Nobody cares about that. They care about, how is this going to help me? Again, it's all about me. Like, people, we are born to think about me, right? So that's how we need to approach our content too, is how is this going to benefit the person on the other side? What transformation, what mindset shift, what aha moment are they going to have? What small win can they get from hearing what it is that I'm talking about? So focusing on their problems versus your own. And your problem might be, I got to get clients, so let me just, put out some content so I can get clients. No, focus on them, and they're going to respond. Another thing that you can do, number three, is showcase the achievements of your team and your employees. So if you are an executive and you have people working for you, talk about what they're doing, the things you're excited about that they're doing. This is a tip that I found myself giving to every single executive I was having those strategy meetings with over the last few weeks, because they all had this challenge. And so I told every one of them, and it was like this light bulb went off. I was like, talk about your team. Talk about the things that your department is doing that you're excited about. Talk about things that are happening in your company, and give insights about how that relates to the work that you're doing. That's the kind of stuff that people want to hear about. And it also edifies your team. Like, it lifts them up, which as a leader, that's what we want to be doing anyway. Um, if you are a business owner, if you have a team, then you definitely want to be talking about the great work that your team is doing, the things that they're doing that are helping to grow your business, that are making your clients excited and surprising and delighting them. But if you don't yet have employees, this still applies to you. You can be talking about the partners that you work with, the collaborators that you work with. You can talk about your contractors that you're working with, or people that you've hired to help support your team, even if it's on a contract basis. Um, you can also talk about the people that are in your network, like lifting them up, because again, people start to associate you with those people as well. If they see them as somebody that they respect and admire, they start to see you as that as well. Um, and again, you're edifying other people. The next tip that I want to give you for how you can refocus on the them and not the me is to talk about your passion work, the things that you do that really feed your soul, because that gives people a glimpse into um, how you serve others. So for most of you, you're probably doing something in the community. You're probably working on special projects or things internally in your organization that are about uplifting and developing other people. If you're doing things in the community, it might be your passion project as far as how you want to make your community better. If you are in an organization or an association and you're excited about the work that's happening there, those are the things that you talk about, because you're talking about those outside entities that you just happen to be a part of and the work that's happening there. And that also gives people a glimpse into your character and what you're about, what's important to you. And they feel like they get to know you a little bit better. Um, and the last one I would give you is to share events and news or special projects from your company or that you are leading. So if there's something on the horizon that you're able to talk about those things, because that's news. That's when if there's things going on in your industry that you can share, that's valuable information as well. So I do want to make this caveat though. It is still okay to talk about your own achievements, to talk about your own wins and successes. Because again, people are looking at not only what you can do for other people, but have you embodied the work as well? So this is also about them, because the people who are in your audience, the people who are watching you showing up publicly, are looking at, is this the person that I've been looking for, whether it's to fill a position or to hire to support them if you're a business owner. So, you talking about your wins and your successes as well helps to answer questions for them. So, when you're talking about the wins and the successes of your team and your clients, that's answering questions for them that they need in order to make a buying decision or a hiring decision. And it's also showing them what's possible. So, when you talk about the things that you've been able to achieve or accomplish, it shows others who are watching you that it might be possible for them too. Okay, so we got through that. And I want you to let me know in the comments, now that we've kind of gone through that, what words come up for you now related to personal branding? Um, how does it make you feel any different than it did maybe at the beginning of this video? I would love to hear from you. And if you have any questions about building your personal brand, drop those in the comments too, because I would love to hear from you and to learn what are some things that I can bring to you that would be valuable and help you as in your journey as well. So again, like I asked before, if this was something that was helpful to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like it, and I will see you in the next video.